It was exactly what everyone had been suspecting, the kind of rumor whispered quietly in stadium hallways that nobody ever dared to say out loud. But now, according to the story, it came straight from Cristiano Ronaldo himself, and he supposedly did not hold back. The man millions of fans consider one of the greatest footballers ever had allegedly broken his silence in a highly explosive interview that sent shockwaves through FIFA and the entire Argentine national team. The interview reportedly focused on accusations surrounding Argentina's recent World Cup success, with claims that questionable refereeing, political influence, and FIFA's interests may have helped create an easier path for Argentina. The most dramatic allegation was that FIFA could potentially punish Argentina by banning them from the 2030 World Cup, with Ronaldo supposedly supporting the idea that teams must face consequences when sporting conduct and fair play are questioned. According to the script, the controversy began during an alleged interview with the British outlet BritSport Network. What started as a relaxed conversation about Ronaldo's family and his future in football supposedly became much more serious when the interviewer asked him directly about the previous World Cup and Argentina. The question was whether Ronaldo believed the tournament had lost credibility, and whether Argentina had benefited from favorable treatment. The script presents Ronaldo as responding aggressively, claiming that Argentina had used its influence and received assistance from referees. It further alleges that inexperienced referees were repeatedly assigned to Argentina's matches and suggests that the pattern was too suspicious to be considered coincidence. The narrative then shifts toward the behavior of Argentina's players. It claims that Ronaldo criticized what he considered an inability to win or lose with humility, and questioned why players would humiliate opponents after receiving favorable treatment. The script portrays him as arguing that a single refereeing mistake can happen because referees are human, but that repeated assistance becomes a completely different matter. It also alleges that Argentine players were able to commit aggressive challenges or insult opponents without receiving appropriate punishment because they supposedly believed nothing serious would happen to them. The story frames Ronaldo's alleged position as a broader criticism of sportsmanship, arguing that accepting advantages is one thing while openly mocking opponents is something much worse. The interview supposedly became even more controversial when the reporter connected the situation to Lionel Messi. According to the script, Ronaldo rejected attempts to turn the discussion into another direct comparison between the two legendary players. He allegedly explained that he dislikes being compared with others because he has dedicated his entire life to becoming the best version of himself. At the same time, the story presents Ronaldo as showing respect toward Messi, describing him as one of the greatest players ever and expressing hope that the controversy would not damage Messi's individual legacy. However, the script claims Ronaldo distinguished Messi's personal career from the reputation of the Argentine national team, arguing that repeated controversies surrounding a team could permanently affect its image. The story then makes its biggest allegation, claiming that FIFA itself could be at the center of the controversy. It portrays Ronaldo as criticizing Gianni Infantino and FIFA, suggesting that the organization's decisions may have contributed to the situation. The script goes even further by alleging that financial interests played a role because Argentina's success and Messi's global popularity were commercially valuable. It presents this as a threat to the credibility of football, arguing that if young players and fans begin believing that matches are predetermined or influenced by powerful organizations, the sport could lose its integrity and appeal. The discussion also turns toward Argentina's relationship with other countries and fans. The script claims Ronaldo emphasized that he does not hate the Argentine people and even expresses affection for the country, while criticizing certain players and supporters for what he describes as disrespectful behavior. It alleges that Argentine players and fans have insulted countries such as England and Mexico, and have also directed hostility toward Ronaldo himself. The narrative argues that some Argentine players who earn their living in the English Premier League should not insult the country in which they play, describing such behavior as ungrateful. It then expands the argument beyond football, suggesting that players should be judged not only by their technical ability but also by their character, teamwork, respect, and sportsmanship. The script next compares Ronaldo and Messi as leaders. It presents Ronaldo as an example of a player who takes responsibility even under difficult circumstances, recalling the 2016 European Championship final when he was injured but remained involved from the touchline, encouraging and directing his teammates. By contrast, the narrative criticizes Messi's leadership, alleging that he sometimes failed to intervene when teammates behaved aggressively. It references incidents involving Argentine players and claims that Messi's silence could be interpreted as acceptance. The script also makes several accusations about specific incidents involving Messi and opposing players, portraying them as examples of questionable behavior and attempts to influence refereeing decisions. These claims are presented as part of the video's broader argument that leadership requires players to actively uphold sportsmanship rather than simply avoid committing the offense themselves. The narrative then attempts to strengthen its argument by citing Argentine journalists and commentators. It claims that figures such as Martin Lieberman, Flavio Azaro, Ernesto Xeris, and Tony Pauman have criticized aspects of Argentina's football culture, refereeing decisions, or fan behavior. The script portrays these commentators as evidence that criticism of Argentina is not simply coming from outside the country or from Ronaldo's supporters. It alleges that some Argentine commentators have questioned whether refereeing decisions consistently favor Argentina and have criticized sections of the fan base for reacting aggressively to criticism. The narrative uses these statements to reinforce its central argument that controversial behavior and accusations of preferential treatment deserve greater scrutiny. Toward the end, the script returns to Ronaldo's supposed message about respect and humility. It argues that Argentina should look at how it would react if the same controversial decisions, insults, and perceived advantages were directed against them. The story portrays Ronaldo as saying that success should come through hard work rather than through favors from referees or officials. It then claims that FIFA may be facing pressure to investigate Argentina and even suggests that a disciplinary case could result in Argentina being excluded from the 2030 World Cup. The narrative presents this as a major turning point for international football and argues that Infantino and FIFA should face greater scrutiny if the allegations are proven. Finally, the script shifts into a direct appeal to viewers. It argues that the discussion should not be about hatred toward Argentina or its people but about fairness, sportsmanship, and the integrity of football. It asks viewers whether they believe Argentina received unfair advantages during the World Cup and whether Cristiano Ronaldo faced a more difficult path because he never received similar assistance. The video concludes by asking viewers whether FIFA would actually have the courage to ban Argentina from the 2030 World Cup or whether financial and political interests would prevent meaningful punishment. It encourages viewers to share their opinions in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow for more discussions about international football.